Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I am going to be taking a look at the latest insane action movie coming out this week, Boy Kills World. Now, this is a movie that is not really based in reality. It's a pretty balls to the wall, crazy, stylistic action movie that'll be coming out this coming Friday. It stars Bill Skarsgård, and essentially he plays a boy who, when he was younger, his whole family was murdered, and he gets taken under the wing of a mysterious shaman who teaches him how to fight, how to defend himself, and basically sets him off on a journey to get revenge on the people who murdered his family, including his little sister, who continually shows up around him in his mind and in his thoughts. He also has an inner monologue that is voiced by H. John Benjamin, and he not only is deaf but also mute as well. So it's an interesting concept of watching this person that can't talk, can't hear, go around and try to, fight off all these villains of sorts and get revenge for what they did to his family. This is a movie that doesn't play around. Like it starts off with a bang, it gets going, and it doesn't really let up. There's only there's few moments here and there where the movie actually slows down to do a little bit of storytelling. But overall, this is pretty much action sequence jumping to action sequence jumping to action sequence, and they don't really let up on the action. The action sequences in this movie are absolutely intense. They are crazy, off the wall kind of stuff. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of crazy different types of kills that you probably haven't really seen in too many other movies. Some definite creative ones here for sure. So I appreciate that the movie tries to be a little different in terms of that regard. Overall, I think a lot of that works. There's times where the action is a little too chaotic, and sometimes it's a little hard to follow what's exactly going on, but the movie's shot in a certain way where I think it lends itself to showcasing the action very well. It's not choppily edited like a lot of action movies are these days, and I can appreciate that. It's good cinematography, good camera work. Only a few times here and there does it get a little too over the top and crazy, but like I said, outside of that, it does a really good job in terms of showcasing the violence and the action in this movie. Now, like I said, Bill Skarsgård is the main character here. He does a really good job in the role. He's basically not saying anything. So he has no lines throughout this entire movie. It's just his inner monologue, which I mentioned is voiced by H. John Benjamin of Bob's Burgers, Archer, and so many other adult animated cartoons. And it's funny just hearing that voice throughout the movie, because basically anytime he's interacting with other people, you hear his inner monologue and inner thoughts, and it's this voice that you associate with so many other characters who are cartoons. It's weird hearing it be the voice for this character that Bill Skarsgård is playing, but nonetheless, I think it works pretty well. There's a lot of funny moments that come from it, and they picked somebody with a pretty stellar voice, I think, to fill in as this inner monologue and everything. Outside of Skarsgård, you don't have a huge cast here, but the cast that is here does work really well. You have Famke Janssen as more or less kind of the villain here. She does a good job. She's not in it a whole lot, but when she does eventually make her way into the movie, she does a really good job. You have Jessica Roth from the Happy Death Day movies. I've always been a big fan of her since I saw her in those movies. She does a really good job here as well. You have people like Brett Gelman, who is a very funny comedian. He's been on the last couple seasons of Stranger Things. He's been blowing up pretty big. He has a pretty big role here as well. And then Charlton Copley, from District 9 and a lot of the Neil Blomkamp movies. He's here in a small role, doing a good job. And then the Old Spice guy himself, Isaiah Mustafa, shows up for a little bit as well. And everybody here is invested in this world, because like I said, this is a world that's not really set in reality. It's over the top, it's crazy, but everybody here is really game for what they're trying to put on screen, and I can always appreciate that when the cast knows the kind of movie they're in, and they all are putting forth what they think this world should be. So it's great to see everybody in the cast be game for it. I think it all works really well in that regard. The only slight downside for the movie, I would say, outside of, I mentioned a few parts here and there where the action does get a little too crazy, where it's just a little too much from time to time. But there is a pretty big twist in this movie that I actually did not see coming. I didn't expect it at all, and I kind of love it and don't like it at the same time, because while I do like the fact that it was unexpected and it was something that I did not see coming, on the other end, it kind of changes the rest of the movie once it's introduced. So I wasn't really so crazy about that aspect of it, but nonetheless, it doesn't do anything to completely ruin the movie or anything like that, and you still get a crazy over-the-top action sequence immediately following once the twist is revealed. But yeah, overall, I had a fun time with this movie. If you like big action movies like this that are just crazy and over the top, has a lot of violence and blood and gore and things like that, and you like seeing creative ways for people to get murdered, this is definitely going to be up your alley. There's not really anything I could compare it to, or describe it. It is kind of in a sense like a Kill Bill type of movie when it comes to the violence and everything. It's just so over the top, so bloody, so gory, that kind of thing. It doesn't really play out the same way as a movie like Kill Bill, because that has a little bit more depth going on to it, where this is more just pretty straightforward. It's a revenge flick, and if you're into that kind of stuff, I think you're gonna dig it. If not, it's still worth checking out. I would say, give it a try at the very least. But for me, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, there's a couple minor things that I wasn't too crazy about, but on the whole, it's a really fun time. It's very entertaining, and I would definitely recommend checking it out if you are a fan of the genre. That's about it from me, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews, rankings, all that kind of good stuff. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can go and follow me on all those sites. And until next time, guys, I will catch you all later.